OK, we start this afternoon with the sad news that Pavel Srnicek has died at the age of just 47. The former Newcastle goalkeeper had been in an induced coma in his home country, the Czech Republic, since collapsing while out jogging on the 20th of December. He'd most recently been the goalkeeper coach at Sparta Prague. His agent, Steve Wraith, has been paying tribute to his close friend.
He was on a whistle-stop tour in Tyneside only 10 days ago. He travelled back to his home country to spend some welcome time with his family. Of course, he's goalkeeping coach at Sparta Prague, and he has a very hectic schedule. But ultimately, he went out for a jog prior to Christmas, and he never returned home. He collapsed with a cardiac arrest. Sadly, the amount of time that he was without oxygen proved to be fatal. They did manage to get him to hospital and resuscitate him, and of course he's been on life support throughout the festive period. And unfortunately, with his family by his bedside, yesterday was the crucial day. They managed to do a CT scan on his head and on his brain, and ultimately the news wasn't good. So I had to make the heartbreaking decision to switch his life support machine off, and ultimately, that led to Pavel passing away. Of course, only his close family were around the bedside. I think the one thing that's got the family through this horrendous situation has been the huge support, it has to be said, particularly from Newcastle United supporters. There's also been fantastic support from those other clubs that Pavel played for in the UK, West Ham United, Portsmouth. There's been some great, outpouring of love and affection for one of life's good guys. Somebody who was the ultimate professional, somebody who didn't abuse himself, wasn't a drinker, wasn't a smoker, was a fantastic trainer, and somebody who, I've heard some great stories over the years, and I've only been Pavel's agent a few years, but I've already heard some great stories from fellow professionals about how he gave them help when they were just starting out, and I remember the happy memories with him, and I'm sure everybody who ever met Pavel Srnicek, whether it was briefly at the training ground at Maiden Castle or outside the ground at St James's Park, or maybe he's in one of the shopping centres. He always had time for people. He always stopped for people, and I'll certainly not forget the time that I spent with Pavel Srnicek. He was one in a million. It's a devastating blow for everybody, but it's just typical of Pavel. He's done it his way, and he went out doing something that he enjoyed. He sadly, on this occasion, he collapsed in the wrong place at the wrong time, and no one there to help him. I think had he been on the football pitch or been on the training ground, things might have been a little bit different.
Well, Darren Peacock played in front of Srnicek for Newcastle in the 1990s. He gave us his reaction.
It was infectious with him, his personality, his character, and as I say, the joy just took into their hearts, and he's going to be remembered forever, without a shadow of a doubt. He enjoyed life. He's bubbly. When he came in, every day was the same. He came in, he was the life and soul of the dressing room. He was loud, but only at the right times. He was competitive, really competitive. I.e., his stretching regime, and I didn't hear him say a bad word about anybody, and that is the truth. He's such a nice guy, and such a shame for his family and friends. In the dressing room, you can tell what players are going to go into coaching, management, or just go out of the game. And Pav was certainly one of those players that you felt would definitely be involved in the game for as long as he could.
Well, Steve Howie, another of his former Newcastle teammates, to pay his tribute this afternoon.
He was just such a big, strong, lovely, warm man. I think sometimes in life you're kind of blessed by meeting people that do, have an impact on you. And Pav was certainly one of them. He had not only was he a big man, he had a fantastic personality. You always knew he was about, not only could you see him because of the size of him, but just the fact of his personality was infectious, and everybody loved him. I've never known anybody to have a bad word to say against him. I think there'll be a lot of tributes coming in. And I think the Newcastle fans as well. I know he played for another couple of clubs, but he was classed as Pavel, as a Geordie. They loved him, he loved them, and it's just a horrendous day.
Well, as you can imagine, lots of messages of condolence coming in for Pavel from his former clubs and from his former colleagues as well. Let's just start with Newcastle Football Club. This is what they've said. Newcastle United says it is with an immense sadness that we confirm the passing of former Newcastle Football Club goalkeeper Pavel Srnicek today. They also go on to say our deepest condolences go to Pavel's family, many friends, former colleagues and supporters at this very difficult time. Sheffield Wednesday, another one of Pavel's former clubs, also say RAP Pavel Srnicek. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends at his sad time. Well, some former colleagues of Pavel also have sent their messages of condolence, saying this from Alan Shearer, saying so very sad to lose my friend and former teammate Pavel Srnicek, and my thoughts are with his family at this awful time. Also, Steve Harper says this: a truly beautiful soul has left this world far too early. Thank you so much for everything you did for me, Pav. Also, Keith Gillespie, this from him coming in, saying so sad to hear about Pavel Srnicek, proud to have known him and play with him, absolute gentleman. And finally, this from Peter Schmeichel, who said, it is with incredible sadness that I've learned that Pavel Srnicek has died a gentleman and a great sportsman. R.I.P. my friend.